So my name is Jeremy. If you're here, you probably know, you probably follow me already on social media. I currently live in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is huge. I actually live in the East Los Angeles, probably 30 minutes from downtown, but it's a little town. Nobody knows where it is. So I've been here, God, for since I was 12 years old. I moved here in Taiwan. I was born in Taiwan, actually. Moved here when I was 12 years old with my family. I've been living in the Los Angeles area ever since then. Really loving the weather over here, and I don't see myself moving until probably until I retire from photography. So if you don't know what I do, I focus mainly on destination international weddings. I've been doing this since 2009, so it's going on 15 years now. Over the course of 15 years, I've shot north of 300 weddings now. I actually lost count. I tried to count it one time. I just lost count, but I know it's over 300. I've been lucky enough to shoot all over the world. I've done weddings in Asia, from Shanghai, Thailand, all the way to Italy, France, Taiwan. Never been to Morocco, South Africa, which is a place I do want to go to, but maybe we'll put it out in the universe, and maybe somebody will hear and want to book me. And also, I shoot around 15 weddings a year. When I first started, I was shooting a lot more. I was shooting maybe 30 to. I averaged around 30 weddings a year. I think the most weddings I ever done 1 year was 35, which was obviously a lot of weddings. Only 52 weekends in a year, so 35 weddings is quite a bit. And then I also shoot around 10 to 20 portrait sessions a year. This could be anything from maternity sessions from my previous clients. I don't really advertise I shoot family sessions, so usually just for families. I've couples I've shot before where they started having babies. My first couple of the babies got up in high school now. So shoot about 10 to 20 portrait sessions, and then some random commercial assignments. So I shoot a lot for bridal companies, bridal gown companies as well. If they have a new collection launch, whatever, I usually shoot for that. And let's talk about just how much I actually edit per wedding. So between myself and second photographer, we typically shoot about. I'm not a volume shooter. I'm not one of those shoot and pray kind of guys. So I'm very selective. Shooting film or digital, I'm very selective of both. So with digital, if I shot an all digital wedding, my team averages about 2,500 to 5,000. I know that's a huge range, but it just depends on if there's a lot of details, a lot of activities, or if there's a lot of festivities that a couple decided to do. If it's just kind of a fancy dinner party, you typically on the lower end of that. But for any given wedding, 25 to 5,000, that's usually the range I fall under. So average out about 3,500 images per wedding. And out of that, I deliver between 5 to 800. So, obviously take out everything that's unflattering, any kind of bad lighting tests, or somebody happened to walk in my frame for a variety of reasons. So I typically deliver about 500 to 800 photos. Again, it just really depends on if there's a lot of festivities, a lot of details to be shot. Okay, now one of the things that that made me want to explore AI editing is the fact that I spend a lot of time on editing. And if you're a photographer like me, color is very important. We typically sit there for hours and on end just to figure out any minute difference between +1 exposure, -1 or 10 or whatever it is. So there's a lot of time that's spent on editing photos, especially when we want everything to look consistent. And if you shoot weddings like me, there's a lot of lighting situation that happens throughout the day. You could be 1 minute you're shooting indoors with like ugly tungsten light, or then you're outdoor, bright sun, full blown sun, or open shade. If you shoot wedding, there's a variety of lighting conditions that we had to go through every single day, and it's really hard to be consistent. Even as much as I try to be, it's really hard to be consistent just because sometimes lighting changes so fast and you're being pulled in every direction that you have to kind of change your settings on the spot. And it's later on when you get to in Lightroom, when you start editing, you're like, oh crap, like I should have exposed that better, or I should have shot a custom white balance, whatever it is. So I did spend a lot of time editing. So I started looking into different ways to kind of cut down the process, the editing time, because as you know, photography, we love to shoot. A lot of this back end stuff, editing, marketing, a lot of this just don't want to do. The workshops I do, I hear this all the time. People just want to go shoot. And one of the things I had to tell my students is that, hey, listen, shooting is only going to be 10% of your work. The rest of it is going to be just, editing, marketing, going to events, and all the different stuff that has nothing to do with photography, but it's just part of the job, right? So now, if you're here, I think you might be frustrated with the long hours spending on editing photos, just like I was. And you might be interested in incorporating some kind of preset or some kind of AI editing capability into your workflow. AI is a buzzword that started this year, and I think really revolutionized our industry in the sense that it changed my workflow. It has kind of allowed me to expand my business. So I've always done associate photographer program. But I haven't had the opportunity to really expand it. Just the editing side of things. If I took on additional 20 weddings, that's 20 more weddings I have to edit, or I just send that out to outside source to edit, and that obviously is cut into my overhead. If you run associate programs like me, you probably already know the margin is pretty slim for that anyways. So, you got to pay the right amount of money for the right people. And by the time you finish paying somebody and then you have to pay for editing, this just really cuts down your overhead. So cuts into a profit. So with the Neurapix, I've been able to really expand my associate photographer program because I'm able to edit their photos within a little fraction of the time that used to take me, or I used to have to contract it out or send it to an outside editor. All right, so here's kind of typical hours I spent before I started using Neurapix AI editing. So calling time for me is pretty quick. I have a pretty strict calling system where it doesn't take me a lot of time to call, and also, like I said, I'm not a volume shooter between myself and my second photographer. Now here's the typical hours I spend before AI editing. So 30 minutes usually I spend on calling. Like I said, I don't shoot a lot. So between myself and second shooter, that's typically enough time for me to call through the entire wedding. It might be higher for you if you tend to shoot a lot, but I hope you don't, because you usually spend a lot more time editing. I would tell my second shooter I rather go for quality than quantity. If the groom's button his shirt, I don't need every single button captured. I just need one button. That's all I need. So now, usually fully edit the photos, fully edit a wedding, it takes me about 8 hours. That's from start to finish. And obviously, I'm not sitting there 8 hours a day just to try to finish this wedding. Editing usually takes me about, my contract is up to 8 weeks. Again, typically takes about 8 hours to edit a wedding from start to finish. And that's not me sitting there for a straight 8-hour day edit. I can't do it. I mentally, I cannot sit there for 8 hours edit. So it ends up taking about 5 to 8 weeks total to deliver a wedding. Now my contract says 8 weeks, but obviously you want to under promise, over deliver. I was gonna mix up. So under promise, over deliver. There you go. So I usually end up about 5 weeks. I'll turn the images over. Again, for weddings where I shoot film, this is pretty good actually. So I've heard some wedding photography actually takes longer than that. Film wedding photography, I should say. So it's actually not bad already. But obviously, when we try to please the clients, and everybody's excited to see their photos, you try to get it to them as soon as possible. And any portrait sessions will take me about 2 hours to edit. So that includes calling time and also fully edit each single photo. A lot of times I try to shoot as consistent as I can, which later I'm going to show a live editing session from the workshop I just taught in San Francisco. You can see how consistent I try to be with every single scene, as I call it, just different lighting condition. I try to be really, really consistent. But there are times, as you know, when you shoot weddings, when you turn around, all of a sudden, the bride's standing by the window, you turn around, you're fully backlit. Now you gotta bump your exposure up by like 4 stops. So your finger you can't rotate that dial fast enough, right? So a lot of times we still ended going back having to hand edit each image, can't really sync all. So that's where this time consuming time process comes in. All right, now this is the hours I kind of spend now after I started using Neurapix. So calling time still the same, about 30 minutes. Now I'm actually able to edit an entire wedding in 3 minutes or less, and this is no exaggeration. So essentially what I do is I select all the photos I want. I have a star rating system. So when I calling through the images, I use Photo Mechanic when I edit through the photo. When I call through the images, 1 star is what I'm keeping. 2 star is what makes the blog, if blog is still a thing. 3 stars is what I use for portfolio, right? Just the showcase images, like your iconic images. So right now, after I call through the entire image, the entire wedding, I import everything into Lightroom. I apply the AI preset within minutes. It might be even less than 3 minutes. I've never retimed it, but I just know I go get a cup of coffee, come back, it's done, right? And once I edit through the entire wedding, out of that, I'll select about 30 images, my two star images. I'll select those, about 30 of them, typically, and I'll do some further enhancement on that. Like I'll do some retouching on those. I'll do some maybe minor adjustment to white balance and exposure, and those become my sneak peeks. So I'm able to give my clients sneak peeks within 12 hours usually after the wedding is over, which is something I could not do before with the hand edit. I just couldn't do it, or I only be able to send them maybe 5. And as you know, client, they're so excited to see the photos. The more you send them, the faster they share on social media. You send that to the planners. 12 hours after the wedding, they just go crazy. They love you, right? They because they want to show photos too, and they rather wait for professional photos from you rather than your iPhone photos. All right, so now we're gonna jump into live editing. So just kind of so you guys know like what the process. So red is the raw file. Okay, the yellow in the middle, that's already got the preset applied, just regular preset, and I'm gonna edit the green files with Neurapix, basically with AI editing. So right now I have three photos here. So again, raw file. This is just straight out of camera raw file, and I'm gonna go through this real quick with you guys. So we have the basic indoor, outdoor, open shade. This is a window light. This is indoor kind of again a window light situation. Street. This is just open. I forgot the word. Open shade. It's an open shade area where you're in the city of San Francisco, and we're in between buildings, so just completely shaded. And then we keep going back, and we got some candlelight over here, right? And then we also have some direct flash. So this is all raw files. It's just not edited raw files. As you can see, I try to keep pretty consistent with my exposure, especially if the lighting condition hasn't changed. But we'll go through it, and then we'll see. So this is with all the presets applied, meaning I only applied preset, but I didn't do any additional adjustments. Okay, so you can see some are pretty close, but this one, like specifically this one right here, to me that would be a little underexposed, and this one's a little underexposed as well. This is okay. So there's some lighting variation here. It's like this one to me is underexposed as well. Yeah, all this is a little underexposed. So typically before I would have to go back and manually drag each one, just get it to the way I want to. But I want to use Neurapix, and you guys see how close you get. So one of the misconceptions that people have is honestly with the using editing with the human editor or AI editor is we're photographers. We're just anal about colors. Nothing's ever gonna be 100%. So that's not the point of the of AI editing. It's not something that will get you 100%. You set it and you forget it. It's not going to be like that. They're still going to take minor adjustment that you had to go back and do, but it's just the speed at which that I can do it now. Okay, this is all to me. This is all still looks slightly underexposed, right? And white balance right here, you can obviously is way yellow, so I had to somehow bump that back up. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the whole process. So this is basically back to raw profile, and they're not edited at all. There's nothing applied. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a select all. All right, so right now there's the 49 image example images. So I did a select all, got everything here. You can go to library, plug in extras. I'm going to do edit photos. Okay, you can see it's refined smart preset. So if I want to refine it, I can edit this entire thing and refine it one more time. But since I already created, I'm just going to go edit photos. All right, so let's just call it as the workshop. Here the optional feature, you can none, rotate images, crop and rotate images. And this is a local preset, meaning that this sits on my desk, sits on my computer of which I'm editing on. So right now is the, I'm going to start a timer over here. Let's just see. Let's just see how long it takes to edit. I'm going to start a stopwatch. Okay, so I'm going to start editing. Ready, one. If you guys have a watch or a stopwatch, just go ahead. 3, 2, 1, go. Start editing. Okay, so now it's showing it's editing 49 photos in Neurapix. Okay, so now we're sitting at about 13 seconds right now. So I'm not sure if you can see okay, so now it's going on. So it's showing how it's editing each photo. So it basically is pulling it from the preset that I've already set, and it's giving each photo the preset treatment that I've used. I've taught AI before. All right, and let me see here. It's almost done. Okay, that took 53 seconds. So, I mean, I've done this for a lot of times. I'm still like kind of mind blown every time I see this. So that literally took 53 seconds on my stopwatch, right? So now I'm gonna do all 3 presets. Okay, so this again, the first column red, that is the raw file. This is a regular the yellow is a regular preset. The green, this is a smart preset. So as you can see, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, there you go. All right. So as you can see, this automatically up the exposure, adjust the color, so it's much true to life color, just kind of the way I like it. Again, this is a little underexposed, and I think it's a little too much yellow. It kind of dialed back that yellow a little bit from raw file, right? And as you can tell, you also automatically straightened my photos, this one. So it did rotate a little bit to make it straight. Again, this is just with the regular preset applied. This is a smart preset. You can see it bumped the exposure. So now this one's much closer to being done than this one. Same thing with this. All right, as you can see this right here, this is raw file. This one's raw file. This one is just with the preset applied. This is a smart preset. This is much closer to what I would want as the final product. I mean, actually, that is the final product. This one, I wouldn't do anything else to it. That's just exactly what I had envisioned the photo to look like. Okay, so now this one, I would go back just very quickly. You can actually do it. If you don't know, this is actually a kind of hack over here, I think. You can go back and just dial down exposure here as well. So I would just do, maybe that's a little too right there. Bump that up just 1/3 of a stop. Okay. And the same thing, as you can see, he actually fixed the white balance for me as well. This I wouldn't touch. This is just the way, just the way kind of I had envisioned that one. Same thing, you can actually see it brought up the shadow on the wall as well. This one with the regular preset applied, I didn't do it. So this one is much closer to the final product. This is a pretty big difference here. This is a raw file. This is with the preset applied. This is with a smart preset editing, right? You can see that We actually bumped up the exposure. I'll guess half a stop or so, just to really bring out all the details of the floor. Excuse me, really bring out the detail on the flowers, and the colors is vibrant, just the way it's supposed to be. Okay, this one as well. You can see this is, I'll bump it up one more time. So this is the raw file. This is a smart preset applied. I'm sorry, regular preset applied. It's a smart preset applied. So this one, again, you can see it brought out a shadow, but you still maintain the white in the dress details, so it's not blown. Same thing here. And then from here, this is all my sneak peek photos. And as you can see, it literally took 53 seconds to get all this done. And I can, right away I can send this out to the vendors and planners, the couples, and they're happy and they get their previews, and I get my base of the images that I would like to edit the rest of the images to.